So I'm going to introduce both of us. We heard the transformation from a hardware company to a software company. We heard about software, the world of software, the transformation in the world of software. We heard, maybe it's a bit too loud, yeah. We had Ray's presentation that talked about experiences and the digital economy, and then we had some more strategy and some more high level, and then we thought that actually there are people who have to make these things work, right? So we have this teeter-totter between the marketing and the development, and we thought that we could share a bit of the experiences that we have as people who are actually trying to work on gaining that competitive advantage, because in the end it's a product that we're trying to sell. And we have these three elements that we keep thinking about, right? Customer intimacy, and you heard about that. We have product excellence, and we have operational efficiency. So we're going to try a bit of a transformative way of presenting, which goes to customer intimacy that you heard before. We're going to have a fireside chat. So here's our fire. We're beside the fire. And I'm going to ask Jake, fireside chat is a bit of a transformation on a marketing perspective, but how do you feel, the transformation within your world, and what are you doing about it?
How do I feel? Good way to start. Yeah, so, this transformation, for those of you who have been here in prior years, it's been going on for some time. And it's not stopping in some ways, it's just getting faster. And so for me, maybe the best kind of story or background I can share is how we had to go through a transformation several years back when we started thinking about services, we started thinking about cloud and supporting those use cases. Because at that time, back at SafeNet, prior to Gemalto, we were shipping boxes, and that's all we did. We had software in a box and we had hardware in a box, and we didn't have the thought of services, and we didn't have the thought of being connected to our customers from an operational standpoint. So back then, it was a very awkward discussion at times. You talk to the head of IT and say, hey, guess what? We need to spin up a data center to start selling services. And they look at you like, oh, but I'm still implementing Oracle, and I don't really need to worry about that. And you talk to the supply chain guys, and they're like, oh, what's wrong with that cardboard box that we ship? That works just fine. So it was really a fish out of water at first. And at that time, it was really difficult to initiate change, to get the momentum. And it was painful, just like pulling teeth. And so we made it, we did it. It took, in some aspects, it took longer than we had wanted. In some areas, we're still maturing.
Because change isn't just about market, right? Like I have a team, and I need to help that team understand how to address that change.
Yep.
So and you have people everywhere, you have people everywhere in the world, right?
Yes.
So how do you get them all on board with coping with this sort of transformation?
My wife thinks my next job should be at the United Nations.
There you go.
You have to, cross cultural divides, you have to cross time-based divides, you have to bring everyone together. So for us, one of the outcomes of going through this transformation a number of years back is to embed it in our culture. So when we launched Sentinel Cloud, for example, it took like a major corporate initiative and all this hoopla and rah-rah to get that momentum. Now, what we do is we have a docket of things we would just want to do, and we do it. We have 2 or 3 engineers and an architect maybe start prototyping and experimenting, and then we validate it with the market, and then we validate whether there's an opportunity from a business standpoint, and a lot of them die. But this kind of internal culture of being prepared for what's coming next, it sounds cool. It's like free time for the architects or your top engineers, but the reality is we're learning now. IoT is a great example for us. We had started investing, we had just completed the final transition to our new hardware platform for our hardware keys business. And it's been a number of years. We already have a working model for our next generation. And I know there's somebody in the audience at Gemalto who's like, Jake, shut up. But the point is that we're now leveraging that research, that development, that proof of concept work to help us really have much greater confidence in our IoT strategy around hardware devices. So kind of leveraging this change to build in cultural changes that are long-lasting. It's true from a pricing standpoint. It's true from, it really affects all aspects of the business.
So. Do you think it's even from a systems perspective, like do you manage the teams differently? Do you have to align them differently? Do they work on different I don't know, planning systems? Is it?
Yeah, in the last several years, we've gone through probably a full tools replacement and methodology. Over the last several years, we've implemented Agile. I would say we're still kind of on that maturity path. We've implemented different team structures and how features get developed. We've implemented changes in how support interacts with engineering and with our service operations team and with PM. So yeah, definitely a lot of process.
I think what I find in marketing, and I think Ray asked how many marketing people there are, so okay, I'm one of them. And I have a few other marketing people here. But I think that one of the challenges is that when you're in this transitional phase, there are a lot of new things happening out there. And you're thinking, I have sales saying, we have to sell these new things. This is what I see. Sales are like this new shiny toy every minute. This is what we want to sell. I'm trying to think, okay, let's message this out there. And then I think we're in the market for 30 years. We have over 10,000 customers. How am I going to make sure that they don't just suddenly freak out? Like, how come, I just met, we're friends of ours from Fernsoft. It was talking to me about this yesterday. They've been with us for over 20 years, and they still use dongles. They understand they want to move to a more advanced technology, but so what am I going to do? How do I communicate this? So what do we do? What do you think of when you're trying to support both sort of our existing customers and looking forward and making sure you develop good stuff so sales can sell and I can just talk about it?
Yes, that's often tough. There is a bit of a dance, all right? You have to invest. You have to invest your team in what's the focus, and so, but our strategy is to really focus on the platform. We know that, as most of you are, you're also have the same situation. You have legacy products, you have go-forward products, and so we're supporting both. We're supporting your existing products, maybe with hardware keys, and we're going to support your next product or your next service with our other offerings. And when we're successful, we provide a full solution stack that enables you to kind of support your business as you evolve, as you transform. So that's how we do it. We prioritize based on our customer base, based on what their needs are, and also how we anticipate the market to change and affect each of you. So,
is it more work to make sure that everything that we do is also backwards compatible?
No, more work, less work, it's work. It's required because ultimately, our customer relationship, you as our customers, are really what's important to the success of our business. So, Warren and I had an awkward interaction in the hallway on the break. Mainly
is that because you didn't win a car?
No, it was mainly because of me and my social ineptness. But we were talking, and we were talking about our history as partners and some of their decisions in their upcoming plans. And so the point is that Warren and I were focused on our relationship and how our support of their business plans. And that's really what makes us. That's why Warren's coming back.
So you think that? So I
hope it's not the football, right?
Or the car, But so you're saying relations. I think sort of. I always want to take ownership on relations from a marketing perspective, and sales want to take ownership on relations from a sales perspective. So how do you want? Like, obviously you have to take ownership because in the end the product has to be.
Yeah. And so that's also tough because we have a large number of customers. So sometimes it's just letting people know that you're paying attention. Like Chris had an issue in his dev environment last week, and I knew that some people were on holidays. So I sent Chris a note saying, hey, sorry, but the response is going to be a little bit slow. Be patient. So it's something as simple as that to saying like the email exchange with SDL the other day where I was talking about Erica. it's being real, I guess, being transparent and being sincere. So.
I think another thing that I took, at least again from the presentations that were before us, is that there are so many options out there to try and achieve this transformation, right? For me, from a marketing perspective, if you look at the amount of work that Marcy and team have put into trying to get people here, some people, like I've been meeting people, received a postcard, a phone call, an email, you're here, you get a piece of paper. There are so many routes that I can take to the market, and I know that from a marketing perspective, I go back, I measure, I check, and I sort of can define, otherwise it's just going to overwhelm everyone. Mm-hmm. So how do you know, like from all these amazing technologies, look at cloud, right? It's a disruptive, well, it was disruptive. How do you choose what to go with and put that in our roadmap?
How do you choose? I think you just have to take all the inputs. You have to assess the market. You have to assess where our strengths are. You have to look at feedback from customers. You put it all together, and then you make decisions, and you hope that you're right more than you're wrong. And
we thought cloud was obviously going to be something that we wanted to.
Well, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know, to be honest with you. We built it, and we said, okay, let's not integrate it into the rest of the product portfolio because we don't know what the hell is going to happen. Slow-mo's like
dying there.
Like cut the mic. But it's true, and the reality is we as we moved along, we realized that we really needed to integrate those capabilities into the entire product portfolio. So we made cloud really a foundational component to our solution offerings, and we're still working on maturing that with each of our solutions. So we didn't know at first. In another case, we have you call it a feature or kind of a vertical capability that we were really hesitant to offer. And so we decided to limit it, to sell it only in one product that was very regional specific, because it allowed us to contain the test, so to speak. And then that gives us an opportunity to get real market data, to validate, to build some stability in the technology before we make it prime time. So we play different approaches depending on what it is. So,
is there any other technology or any other breakthrough that you think that we'd want to be implementing?
So I often, as a kind of a geek of some sorts, I test things. So I was testing this email tool where it plugs in and it tells you how to draft your email to target the type of person that you're talking to, and uses data from Facebook and all LinkedIn and all these weird sorts. And I don't know, I ran into a colleague the other day on Monday. We were just all getting in, and I might have said the wrong thing exactly at the wrong time, and it was like and I overanalyze this stuff if you haven't figured that out yet. And I'm like, wow, that was awkward, and I feel like I didn't really connect with this person. This is somebody that I care about, and somebody in our organization that's, we're on one team. And I go, wow, I wish I had that tool right now, because then I could have got it just right. So I know that seems very odd, and you're wondering what the segue is, but I would love to have that for monetization. It's if anyone who's had a few econ classes, it's that optimal point as the supply and demand and the price just line up perfectly. That's my dream for our business and what we can offer to you as our customers.
Okay, thank you. So I think we're open. There's going to be a panel as well where we can ask some questions, but I think the outcome is to think about this disruptive, environment, and to sort of try and say that you can make it. You can make it from a development perspective.
Sure.
You can make it from a marketing perspective. It just requires this additional, thought perspective and innovation and making sure that that's. So do you think we're there? We're making that?
We're on a good track. We're in a really good place. It's just a matter of execution and making some tweaks along the way to the strategy so that we don't get too stubborn along the way. But yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Jake. So we'll let you go to lunch now.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.